Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving headfirst into the global AI revolution. It's this massive, high-stakes race between superpowers. It's a huge debate on how to even control this thing, and honestly, it's a story where the next chapter is still totally up for grabs. Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First up, we'll look at the tech itself, what's actually causing all this buzz. Then we'll get into the game plans of the two big players, the US and China. After that, we'll see how Europe's stepping in to try and write the rulebook for everyone. And finally, we're going to look at the cold, hard data and ask who's really winning this race.
All right, so first things first, how in the world did we get here? I mean, the story of AI is just this incredible, super fast journey. From machines that could only follow simple, strict rules to these systems today that feel like they genuinely get what we're talking about.
And let me tell you, the pace of change has been just wild. If you go back to the 50s, AI was basically a puppet, right? It could only do what humans programmed it to do, step by step. Then in the 90s, it got a bit smarter. It started learning from statistics, kind of like a student just memorizing patterns. But the real game changer? That was 2013. That's when AI started to get not just the words, but the meaning behind the words. And well, that set the stage for everything we're seeing right now. So, the magic behind all this? It's something called the transformer architecture. And here's a way to think about it. Imagine older AI trying to read a sentence by looking through a tiny keyhole, seeing just one word at a time. It's slow and it misses the big picture. Well, transformers, they can basically see the whole room at once. They'd have this thing called an attention mechanism that lets them look at how every single word in a sentence relates to every other word. And that's what gives them that super deep contextual understanding that just feels, well, it feels almost human.
Okay, so this huge technological leap, it obviously didn't just happen in a bubble. No, it kicked off a massive global competition. So let's start with the player that's been on top of the tech world for a while now, the United States.
You see, the American playbook is all about leaning into what it does best: free market capitalism and the sheer power of its private tech giants. We're talking about a system fueled by tons of venture capital and that classic move fast and break things culture. Silicon Valley is absolutely at the heart of this, and the goal is crystal clear: keep America at the top of the tech food chain.
And this really drives home just how high the stakes are here. We're not just talking about getting a better smartphone assistant. No way. This is being framed as a whole new kind of arms race, where whoever dominates AI gets a massive advantage in, well, everything. Economic power, global influence, the whole shebang.
Okay, so now let's pivot and look at the other superpower in this race, because China isn't just playing along, they have a very deliberate, state-driven plan to become the world leader in AI.
China's strategy is fascinating because it's almost the complete opposite of the US approach. Instead of a wide-open free market, this is a top-down, centralized national mission backed by the state. You have their own tech giants, Baidu, Alibaba, Tencent, working hand-in-hand with the government on this new generation plan. And that plan has one single, incredibly ambitious goal: make China the #1 AI innovation hub in the world by 2030. And you can really see this rivalry play out when you look at their biggest companies. On one side, you've got the American innovators who literally built the foundational technology, and on the other side, you have these Chinese giants who are using the full power of the state to catch up, and catch up fast.
Then, in early 2025, wham! A shockwave just rips through the industry. This Chinese company, DeepSeek, drops a conversational AI that wasn't just good, it was nearly as good as the best models from the US. And here's the kicker: it was way cheaper to run. All of a sudden, this race was blown wide open.
And the reaction from the market? It was absolutely seismic. In the days after the announcement, about $1 trillion in value was just gone, wiped off the US tech index. It was this incredibly clear signal that, hey, the era of America just running the show by itself might be over.
So yeah, this wasn't just a blip on the stock market. This was a real psychological shock. Experts everywhere started calling it a Sputnik moment for AI. And that's a perfect comparison, right? It was this huge wake-up call, just like when the Soviets launched that first satellite, and suddenly the world realized, wow, the competition has seriously caught up and maybe even pulled ahead.
So while the US and China were locked in this all-out race for technological dominance, Europe was kind of taking a step back and asking a totally different question. Their question wasn't who can build the biggest, most powerful AI. It was, how on earth do we control this stuff?
And so the European Union decided to step in and basically become the world's referee on this.
They introduced the EU AI Act, which is a really big deal. It's the first comprehensive law for AI anywhere on the planet. And the goal here is to set a global standard for how to do this stuff safely and ethically.
Now, the logic behind this law is actually pretty brilliant. And it's simple. It says, hey, not all AI is the same. So instead of one rule for everything, they created this sort of sliding scale of risk. If an AI system is an unacceptable risk, it's just banned, outright. If it's high risk, it has to follow some really tough rules. But for AI with limited or minimal risk, way fewer restrictions.
And here, you can see exactly how this works in the real world. Something like a government social scoring system? Yeah, that's considered an unacceptable risk. So it's banned, gone. What about high-risk stuff like biometric identification? Well, that needs super strict oversight. And then you get to lower-risk tools like chatbots. For them, the rule's pretty simple. You just have to be clear with people that they're talking to an AI. Okay, so we've got the tech, we've got the race, we've got the rules. That brings us to the big question. What does the data actually say? Who is really in the lead at this very moment?
All right, let's follow the money first. According to Stanford's big 2024 AI Index report, the numbers, well, they tell a pretty clear story. In 2023, private investment in the U.S. was over $67 billion. Now get this, that's almost 9 times more than the investment in China. That just goes to show you the massive financial firepower of the American private sector.
And it's not just about pumping money into existing companies either. It's about where new ideas are coming from. And again, look at 2023. The US had almost 900 new AI startups pop up. In China, 122. That really points to a much more dynamic, bottom-up kind of innovation culture in the States.
So what's the verdict? Well, it's a little complicated. Right now, the U.S. is definitely leading in the key areas. We're talking funding, foundational research, and the super important hardware like semiconductors. But you can't count China out. They have these huge advantages like enormous pools of data and the ability to roll out new tech at lightning speed. The big catch, though, a lot of China's incredible progress is still built on top of the foundational tech that was invented in the U.S. and Europe to begin with.
And all of this brings us to the final, really important question. As AI keeps changing everything, what's going to define true leadership in the end? Is it just about having the most raw technological power? Or is it about something more? The ability to balance all that power with responsibility and to build systems that we as humans can actually trust. The race is definitely on. And honestly, the future is still anyone's game.